But first, unions and green groups say the state government is breaking environmental laws and public promises over a move to axe conservation jobs in southwest Victoria. 10 biodiversity officers are among the first to learn their jobs will go under the Coalition's plan to slash the public service. That's despite the government's promise frontline jobs won't be touched. As James Bennett reports, the government could be in breach of state and federal obligations.
1 month ago, 10 of the 11 Department of Sustainability and Environment staff working in this Horsham building were told their contracts were up. 2 of them are Dr Nushka Rita and Wendy Bedgood. Ms Bedgood is shown here on the DSC website in a press release about their work.
The future is looking good for a rare Wimmera orchid thanks to scientific expertise, volunteer enthusiasm and Horsham's specialist orchid growing facility.
Their work was conserving critically endangered orchids which survive in minuscule numbers in Western Victoria. But they're among the first public servants to be told their contracts won't be renewed under the state government's plan to cut 3,600 jobs.
It was devastating because they're all people you know, and many of them are very, very good at what they do. And then there's the knowledge of all the work that's gone in, both with themselves and with volunteers, to make these plants more secure and make the animals more secure and things. And if the work's not done, it just goes backwards very, very quickly.
This is your green room.
Dick Thompson's decades of devotion to the Australian National Orchid Society are evident in his home laboratory and greenhouse.
How old's that?
It's about 3 months since the seed was sown.
Only these ultra-rare orchids aren't sown like ordinary seedlings. They depend on a fungus to germinate. Working out how to successfully grow them in a lab has been at the heart of Dr Rita and other conservation officers' work. This is Dr Rita quoted in another DSE press release.
The specialist facility is constantly breaking new ground in the complex field of native orchid propagation. We are now busy getting the orchids out to where they can be planted back into the wild.
Nushka Rita, Wendy Bedgood and their colleagues have been prevented from speaking publicly about their situation. But conservation groups are worried that if their jobs go, it's not just the orchids that'll suffer.
Programs that relate to the recovery of the brush-tailed wallaby, which is a very endangered species.
The biodiversity officers have also played a key role in another ongoing joint project between South Australia and Victoria to breed, release and track rock wallabies in the Grampians National Park. They're another species listed as threatened. It's been hailed such a success that those involved see it as a model for efforts to rescue other species on the brink.
Certainly, brush-tailed rock wallabies are one of the, flagship species, but the number of other species that we're starting to see respond to the other works that we've been doing is great. You know, things like bandicoots, potoroos.
The Premier visited Melbourne's West today, where 200 new jobs will be created at this distribution centre, and left his treasurer to deliver the bad news.
When the Coalition announced it would cut 3,600 public servants in December last year, Treasurer Kim Wells made this promise.
It's that back office administration area which will not affect frontline deliveries.
With news today that up to 200 DSE staff could go as part of the impending cuts, it's a difficult line for many to swallow.
They are on the front line of ensuring the survival of threatened species.
The public sector union, the latest gearing up for a wages battle with the state government, says 4 months since that announcement, who or what is frontline still hasn't been defined.
Not one single person has admitted or accepted or told us what are the frontline jobs that are exempt and what are the backroom jobs that are going to go. We've had a very poor response from Treasury and Finance that said they're considering their position and they'll get back to us.
The Coalition is currently mulling over a review of Victoria's finances conducted by Mike Vertigan, Treasury Secretary in the Kennett government. Ted Baillieu has so far refused to release his report, but it's understood to recommend deep cuts in the coming state budget to rein in spending. 2 weeks ago, he set up another review called the Better Services Task Force and headed by the Department of Premier and Cabinet Secretary Helen Silver. Its job is to find further savings, freeing up more money for infrastructure. The CPSU says the impact will be profound.
16% of the Department of Sustainability and Environment are on fixed-term contracts. If the government is going to apply such a blunt instrument as the non-renewal of fixed-term contracts, it is going to inevitably have a major impact on service delivery and therefore on the communities where those people live and work.
Already, it's understood that Dr Nushka Rita has taken a job elsewhere. Environmentalists fear Victoria is about to lose years of skills and experience.
Many of these people are specialists in threatened species recovery. They also provide detailed technical advice to other people in the departments and in Parks Victoria about fulfilling action statements to recover threatened species.
Those action statements set out the government's legal obligations, again acknowledged on the DSE's website.
The Victorian Government has a responsibility under the Wildlife Act and the Flora and Fauna Guarantee Act to protect threatened species. The knowledge we acquire about these species helps us to then take the on-ground steps needed to ensure their survival.
In the case of the critically endangered orchid species, all require the government to cultivate plants in a separate location, identify suitable sites and replant them in the wild. Dick Thompson fears the loss of staff and facilities will make that task impossible.
The threatened species are listed. There's got to be a management plan for them. There's got to be action in that management plan. And as I understand it, the state government's responsible to make sure those plants are looked after. I can't see how it's going to happen when there's not staff there to do it.